Music City Horror.
All right, welcome to the show. This is episode 22. Kayla Lana. My name is Eli. I didn't mess that up. That's awesome. And we did it. So this is kind of unofficially our 1 year anniversary show. Our first episode premiered September 29th of last year, and this one will air the 22nd, I think. I don't know when it's going to air, but we won't be recording when our actual anniversary is. So this is kind of the unofficial anniversary show. So congrats to you guys.
It goes by so quick.
It does.
Does anyone have a favorite moment so far, or a favorite episode?
Oh man, it's a good question.
All of them. You guys are just such a treat to work with.
I can't go so
I
far and
agree.
say all of them. I can't go quite that far, but
There's so many good ones.
I'm going to go with the episode that we had the privilege to talk to David.
Oh, that was so fun.
I think that was really special.
Yeah, that was cool.
yeah, it's been really cool to see that continue to take off, and it's on Shudder now. In case you didn't know, Terrifier. Every time I see someone
Netflix.
post about it, I say,
mean
"Hey,
Netflix.
we interviewed him. Go listen to the episode." You know, like we're really excited about
You
that.
mean
one.
it's on Netflix?
What did I say?
You said Shudder.
Oh,
Netflix.
right.
I know. Shutter's got to get it together and
Right.
get Terrifier
It's
on
funny
there.
because I
what a
thought
great thing.
originally when it was released, I thought it was on both, and then when I was looking for it on Shudder, it was only on Netflix. So yes, so
I know it keeps popping up on my Netflix. Even though I've already watched it, of course, it's like, watch it again. And it keeps popping up, and I just see that face, and I'm like, I know.
I think it was on
that's-
trending.
Yeah, it's been on trending and everything too, and it keeps popping up, and I'm like, I know that man is super nice and real.
Yes.
And not at all this terrifying,
sweet.
but it
I know.
always creeps me out.
Yes.
Like, but he's so nice.
I have to say that Linnea Quigley is one of my favorites because she was so sweet. I mean, it's just been awesome to interview all these people that we've been lucky that they've been so awesome.
Yeah, that was, and everybody is so cool. And of course, you kind of know that from horror people are just, I feel like as a general rule, pretty cool anyway. But everybody's been super nice to talk to us, and we're just like little fans. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Get to talk to Joe Bob.
I know Joe Bob.
Eli's
crush
like
on him.
freaking out. I know. It's like,
that
is
that
he
one
married?
We've all got a crush on him.
that one might be my favorite, just because growing up, he was just. I think it was just one of those where when you're younger, like for me, I guess my teens or whatever, and you're just like this cool Texas dude drinking beer, watching horror movies. Like, oh, so I can do this as an adult? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
I want to be an adult.
yeah, and so it was just kind of like he was the connection to the adult world, but he was still just doing cool shit, and it was just kind of a glimpse into your future. Like, oh, well, you can still do the things you love as an adult, even if they're strange. So,
and get to drink beer legally while you're doing it. You can go buy your own beer and then sit there and enjoy it, and not have to fret about hiding it or anything like that.
and
It's
if you
great.
get to his level, someone probably buys it and brings it to him.
That's so true.
I want to read
We can all dream. Someone brings us our beers.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's been very fun so far. We've been very lucky. Our first interview was Michael Berryman, so just right out of the gate, heavy hitter. And
Yeah, and he was so interesting. He was so cool.
Yeah, so smart.
Now, Eli, don't brag too much.
I mean, I'm not MJF or anything, but I mean, we've done okay for ourselves.
There it is. There's our notch on our wrestling reference belt.
When
We
people
gotta
ask
get
about
one
the
in.
show, I say we talk about horror and wrestling. Like we always mention wrestling. So Lena was talking about Hell in the Cell before we got on, and
I know, can we incorporate that into the logo somehow, maybe?
Oh,
that could be coming down the pipe.
that
Actually.
Oh,
might be already
cool.
happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
might be.
So-
I'm into it.
Maybe
Maybe.
not.
But yeah, it's been very, I think I speak for all of us. It's from, all of our Facebook followers and we just hit like 10,000 followers on Instagram and way below that on Twitter. We need to pick up that slack. But, just being able to interact, and I think Kayla just said it best. I mean, we're all just fans. I mean, we like stuff. When I initially started asking the girls to do this, I didn't think they would say yes. I was kind of apprehensive, but that was kind of my pitch. Like, I just want to talk about horror. Do you want to do it? And, I'll try to just have it to where you just have to show up and talk. And, that's kind of how the format's been so far. And that's really what it is. So like when we do, these posts on Instagram, like what's your favorite blah, 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 or what do you think of this? Like, we really want to know. 'Cause like we are fans just doing this, you know what I mean? Like we're not corporate entities backed by huge studios or anything. I mean, I'm in my office and Kayla's in New York and the other KB's at her apartment and Lena's at her apartment. And we're all just, we're just normal people that like this stuff. So it's been really cool to kind of see it's kind of slowly building into something. So if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook or listen to the shows or whatever, thank you. We appreciate it. So we don't have a lot of new stuff. We're kind of early this month. So we don't know all the streaming stuff that's going to hit for October. We are also going to be bringing back our Halloween movie list for October. And we're trying to do it to where if it was listed on last year's list, we're not going to repeat it. And I think Kayla, I think we decided we're just going to do the one list, right? We're not going to have like an R-rated and a kids. I think we're just going to do one.
Because we killed it with the kids list last year, honestly. And not only do I mean like we did an awesome job, but I think we also got pretty much all of the kid.
That's pretty much it.
Right, there's not a lot to choose from.
Yeah, there's not. And I think we got like all the best ones last year. And I'm sure there's a few, but maybe not enough to fill up 31 days. So we're just going to make a big pile of just one list and make it awesome.
Yeah. And I think this year we're all busier too. So I think that's playing a part in it. So, but anyways, so we've got that coming again. So we don't really have a lot to talk about as far as new stuff goes. So I think we're just going to go right into the fun facts with Lena.
Facts of the week.
Okay, take it away, Lena.
Thank you, Eli. As all of you know, fall is right around the corner, which is actually this coming Saturday. It's also Oktoberfest for all you beer lovers out there. But my fun facts today are about one of my favorite things about the season, and it's already begun. That's right. Grab your Han Solo vest and knock off your Ugg boots. Pumpkin spice lattes, y'all. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So my fun facts are about just pumpkin spice in general.
Awesome.
Okay. Yes. Where my basic witch is at. Right here. Yes.
I'm gonna be
I'm
the
all
Mark yelling garbage. Y'all
I love it.
Y'all are trash. Y'all are straight.
I love it. So, pumpkin spice products are at an all-time high, you guys. And they have gone well beyond the usual suspects of pumpkin bread, coffees, and creamers, which I indulge in. I had coffee spice creamer in my coffee this morning. But here are some other products that you might not know about, so brace yourself because they're kind of crazy. Dog food. That is the fastest rising pumpkin spice flavor. Yes. Did I buy that for Pliny? Absolutely. I haven't seen it though, so I'm going to seek it out now. Toothpaste, salsa, gum. Pringles has a flavor. Butter, which I have used, and I'm not a huge fan. Wax for your mustache, and whey protein for all my weightlifting bros out there. Those are all real. You can find them on Amazon, by the way, if you're interested. And it has gotten so crazy. There's even a pumpkin spice debunking effort going on. False reported products include toilet paper, condoms, cola, nasal spray, and bologna.
Pumpkin spice bologna.
Pumpkin spice bologna.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that today, and
What kind of white girl created that?
If you want to talk really trashy, we can get pretty trashy.
Yes.
We're all pretty country enough up in here.
We are.
So
We are very country.
Right. I love me some fried bologna, but I don't know about pumpkin spice bologna.
No, that's true.
So as of I saw this online, as of last August 25th to this past August 25th, $488 million has been spent on pumpkin spice flavored products.
Jeez.
Okay,
That's
Lena,
insane.
how much do you estimate that you and I have spent out of that number?
So I had to close at work tonight. I did go get a pumpkin spice at Starbucks over by my work. That's my treat.
Yes.
So good. Yes, and I've got my candle lit right now, so not dog.
Oh,
bananas.
I will take a pumpkin spice candle all day.
Oh, yeah.
That's my category.
Yes, I love it. This is my last fun fact because this is for real. And if you really love pumpkin spice, here's a Halloween costume idea for you. Pumpkin Spice Girl, the sixth forgotten member of the Spice Girls.
Oh, man.
That's amazing.
That's a great one.
I think I already have that outfit in my closet where I could totally pull that off.
I love it. Yes, it's all on sale.
I'm going to expect that. All of our listeners are now going to expect that, so I need you to make a commitment.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. It won't be a big commitment, so it's pretty easy to pull off.
Right.
I did have a friend, I don't know if it was, I think it was a few years ago, she dressed as like a pumpkin spice latte and she had the Ugg boots on and it was super cute.
That's incredible. Speaking of, now, do you guys know what you're going to be for Halloween yet? Is it too early to think about it? What do you think?
I knew what I was going to be November 1st of last year.
I love it.
It's going to be hard to top your costume from last year.
Yeah, well, last
I
year
don't think
awesome.
I don't know if that'll ever happen.
That picture was like my most liked picture on Instagram and whatever. So
Of course, naturally.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really trying to break the internet, but I did. So this year I'm trying to go viral. So I'll probably tell y'all once we get off the air. But I got a major piece of it ordered. It's actually, I think it'll be here tomorrow.
Viral.
And yeah, it's going to be really, really good. So anyways, is anybody else not as secretive as me?
I've got ideas, but I don't know.
I know KB's going to be Roman Reigns again, but.
Oh, yeah, you know me. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Wait, I think you're going to be Nikki.
The
this
big
year, right?
dog.
Nikki.
Yeah.
The big dog. No, I don't know what I'm going to be for Halloween. I've got a couple of ideas that I'm going to coordinate with my husband, but I don't think that we've actually settled on anything definitively yet. So I've got time.
Yeah, there's some time.
I have to have two because at Monsters Ball I can't the one I was just raving about, I can't wear that and play guitar at the same time. So
interesting.
So for that one, I think I'm going to be David S. Pumpkins and just wear the suit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to wear that suit.
It really
You
is.
have to do it, yeah.
It really is. But then we have to find a way to have some kind of costume setting where I can wear the big dog. So
That's true. Man, Halloween costumes are it's so much fun, and I'm going to miss working at a school this time around, because last year working in a school and the kids like made their own costumes. And I mean, there were about a billion Rick and Mortys, but there were also like the kids in the book club that I ran dressed up as the characters from Doctor Who, and they like homemade their costumes, and it was amazing. And it's, you know, I'm hoping we get some trick-or-treaters this year at least, so I can get like my fill of like awesome, you know, kid invention costumes, because they're pretty creative. But yeah, not a lot of like bloody stuff at school though. So not a lot of horror shenanigans, which was unfortunate, but maybe we'll have some freaky trick-or-treaters this year. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide between a few costumes. Like, one of my first ideas for my husband and I was the Frog Brothers from the Lost Boys.
Oh, cute!
I feel like
That is really
that'd be
cute.
fun.
That's adorable.
But since I'm thinking about it, my mom, she got me a Happy Lana Day shirt, of course.
Oh my God.
So I'm trying
love
to
it.
see if Ben will be Rusev.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Especially for a Monsters Ball.
I will lose my mind if you have a wrestling. Do you have a wrestling costume?
I would have to
That's too
find
good.
like a little leather skirt, maybe. I don't know. Still working on it. Maybe if I run into her in Nashville.
And a fake ponytail.
Yes, big long blonde.
Oh,
ponytail.
yes, I'm here for this.
Oh, thank you.
I think
are my ideas.
Ben could
I
pull
love
off
it.
Rusev.
I love it. I fully support you.
Yeah. If you don't, KB and Lena could be Wayne and Garth.
Oh, that's always a good one.
Done that. I have done that in the past.
Oh, that's so fun. That's such a.
I
That's
did that
such
with a
classic.
coworker, a blonde coworker, like several years ago, and we were Wayne and Garth. I'll have to pull out that picture.
Yes. Oh, that sounds awesome.
It's always a fun time. Well, cool. Do we want to get into it?
Yeah.
I believe we're ready.
I think
I'm
that's what
so
we're
ready.
here for, right?
Yeah, I've been ready since I was like 5 for this conversation.
I've been saying like Jump Street a lot lately. Like, I've been ready since Jump Street, and like I don't really know what that means, but I've just been saying
My
name Jeff.
it. Yes, yeah.
Classic. I love that.
That's just,
I think I screamed in the theater when he said that.
Y'all, I just watched those movies for the first time like last week, so this is still very fresh in my mind.
I love it.
So I told my husband that I just catch myself walking around, and every once in a while I'll stop and say, "My name's Jeff," for no reason, no lead up, no nothing. It just comes out of me. So my life was changed with those movies.
I think that was the first time where I realized that, like, because at that point Channing Tatum was just like, to me, this kind of meathead, like,
He's so
doofus.
funny.
And he's so funny. Oh my
He
god,
is so funny.
he's so hilarious. They knew how to use him perfectly in that movie, though. It's so good.
That's honestly one of the funniest things I think I've ever witnessed.
Okay, after this conversation, I'm just gonna go watch that one scene on repeat.
Oh my god.
So funny.
We got off track, but I just had to say it. It was too good.
We're ready since Jump Street.
yeah. I don't know. I think the second one was better than the first one.
You're crazy.
I mean, it was hilarious, but it wasn't as funny as the first one was. And also, I think the first one, I was expecting it to be kind of awful, but then like, I was so happy. It was just like the best thing ever.
It really was.
So I don't think I was just so surprised about how wonderful it was. So good.
They're talking about doing a. I don't know how it's going to work, but a 21 Jump Street and a Men in Black crossover.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, sure.
I just want them, at the end of the second one where they just have all of the different sequels that keep coming. I want them to make all of those. Just do all of them. I would watch all of them.
I'm not on mute anymore. Here we go.
Okay.
I was like, am I talking to myself? Okay. Anyways,
Yeah,
so we got off
super
track a little
silent.
bit, but that's fine. That's what we do.
But yeah,
Things happen.
We're ready.
So this week our topic is going to be so this week we are going to discuss what we are calling, PG horror or kids horror. And I think I've mentioned this on one of the other episodes, or maybe I just talked to the girls off the show. I don't remember. I remember vocalizing it, though. One of the things I like about, especially Halloween, is kind of the kid version. And then, you have the horror, the gory stuff. So, like KB's going to Orlando next month, and that's just a perfect example. Disney has Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and then Universal has the Halloween Horror Nights. So you kind of get that PG stuff, and then you can get the R, gory, bloody stuff. And so I've always liked the both sides of the season. And so some of this stuff, I mean, I guess you could also call it gateway horror. It's kind of, and the first thing I mentioned a while ago was Scooby-Doo. I think we all watched Scooby-Doo, and I mean, that show, I mean, it was all just ghosts and monsters, and even somebody, I think on Tumblr, basically just took all the characters out and just posted all of the background art. And I mean, like, it is just unbelievable, like the castles and the haunted houses and the woods and stuff. I mean, it's just, I don't think
I always remember like the mist, the way like the mist looked in the episodes was always so good.
Yeah, and and it's crazy because I think Scooby-Doo just celebrated its 49th anniversary. It's almost 50 years old now. So I think a lot of us, by the time it got to us, it was already 20 and 30 years old. So I think we might have taken that one for granted. So, but yeah, so I think it's just we're kind of exploring the, less gory, less bloody side of things, more frights, I guess, and more, and this covers a lot of things. I think, like I just mentioned a cartoon. I think we've got some TV shows mentioned. I think we got movies and some books and stuff like that. So I think it kind of covers all media, as far as that goes. So, so that's the topic we've decided on. So who wants to get started?
Well, I think we were talking about kind of starting off with stuff that we remember growing up with. And I'm a child of the 90s. I was born in 87. So the 90s was a really huge time, as we know, for kid horror. It was just a really big trend at the time. And I remember going to I was already like a creepy kid and liked scary stuff all the time. So it was like perfect timing for our little like horror brains to just be in this soup of like kid appropriate horror, which I think is perfect. Kids grow up and you have no control over anything that happens in your life. And the world is scary and changes all the time without your knowledge or consent. And I think for kids, like horror is really important. And I'm glad that we kind of grew up at a time where it was important and it was like valued. It was on TV all the time, and I could go to the book fair and buy all the Goosebumps books that I wanted. And I just think it was really important for us as we were growing up to become horror fans that we are now. I think that's why you see a big resurgence of horror now, or a big value placed on horrors, because the kids who grew up that time are now becoming adults and making movies and TV shows and putting that stuff in there that we like. So I think that that's kind of the resurgence of where we're getting a lot of horror stuff today too. So I just wanted to say that too, but I know that we all kind of have similar touchstones. Like Goosebumps was a really big deal for me. Even more so, Are You Afraid of the Dark, I think, was my biggest favorite thing as a kid, because of the storytelling aspect of it. Like the kids, that starts off in a frame, right? So you've got the kids around the campfire telling a story, and that comes back to the kids at the end. And I don't know, I really liked that aspect of it, that the kids were telling the stories themselves and not just like having stuff happen to them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. They were making it up.
I think we've talked about this. Does anyone have a favorite
Yeah, I watch them
episode?
now, and I'm like, it still scares me to death. And I feel like there's nothing like that out there now for kids that were my age watching that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know?
Like, there's like, not like, I think about the stuff for kids now, and like I think about, there's some cartoons that are kind of creepy, but I feel like the people who watch them aren't little kids, like they're high
Right.
schoolers or adults. It's very strange. It's
Because I
different.
have like coworkers whose kids are like 9 and 10, which I would have been around that age when Are You Afraid of the Dark was out, and they think that Hocus Pocus is scary. They think Harry Potter is scary, and I'm like, what?
I know they're scared of a lot of stuff, and I don't know if it's because parents are more protective or if it's just not the thing anymore. I don't know.
Or
like
if
it's
the
just,
children are wimps.
or if the kids are wimpy now.
They sound
Right,
pretty,
yes,
they
yes,
sound
I know.
like pretty wimpy kids.
It's crazy.
So-
Like, I feel like I've been conditioned, and here I am today. Like, I love all the scary stuff and whatnot, but children now, they don't even know.
I know. I mean,
feel
I think we growing up, when we had our fair share of the lighthearted stuff. But we were talking about earlier, one movie in particular, The Witches, was terrifying. And it was absolutely a kids movie. It was pandered to kids, and it to this day, I honestly don't know if I can even watch it, because it freaks me out so much. And I don't know if it's just because I'm so scarred from when I was a kid, because it came out in 1990. Right. I was born in 87 as well. So like, by the time I saw it, I was pretty young. And that was one of the most, it was just, I can't even describe it, because it's not gory. It's not necessarily traditionally scary, but something about it just makes you really just petrified.
Yeah.
I think
it's not uncomfortable.
I think the
It's almost
makeup
like
plays a part in it too. Like,
the makeup. Like
when she sheds her skin, like it is so convincing.
Right. Yeah. And she's like she's so beautiful in real life too. Yeah. And I think like seeing her, who's like beautiful and very like statuesque kind of person, transformed to this, it's like, what? It's crazy.
The best way that I can actually compare it is, you can watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it's this beautiful movie, and all of this beautiful, fantastic stuff happens. But when they go in that tunnel, you feel fear.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know why, because it's surrounded by all of this other, like, fantastic stuff. But that little part of that movie, you're scared. And you don't know what's going on. And it's not that you're uncomfortable. It's just like, this took a really, really quick turn, and now I'm nervous. That's how The Witches is for me.
Yeah, it's like you anticipate, like the whole time it's like building, like something here is weird and this is someplace or it's a situation that we've never seen before and like what's going to happen. And it starts off like really cute, but you can kind of get the sense that like something's off and it's, it's not just because, it's just something.
That's
off.
That's a good word to use is off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like something's not right. What's going on underneath it? Have you guys ever seen the movie Babes in Toyland?
With Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Yes.
That movie is scary.
I think I remember that being.
Something is off in that movie. There's another one. It's called Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland.
That movie freaks me out.
It's something about movies like that. Something's wrong with these movies.
Yes.
Somebody made these movies, and something was not right with this person.
Yeah, and I've seen there are a lot of kids movies like that, but they're not scary. It's just like, was this person possessed by the devil when they did this, or am I supposed to like play this backwards in order to get some sort of weird message?
Yes.
Like, what's wrong with this movie? It's just weird.
Yeah, and all at the same time, when we were kids, Goosebumps came out, and Goosebumps was also very scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the haunted mask. Do y'all remember that episode?
Yes.
So creepy.
It still freaks me out.
I just, and Goosebumps is so interesting too because it's not scary in a way like now as an adult I think of stuff being scary. Like it is very kid stuff. Like it's a haunted mask. It's not like, oh, my parents are depressed or anything like super serious. Right. It's always like, it's just like kid stuff and it's like fun. Which I think is a big part of some kid horror, not all of it, but it's just like this thing where you're like, I'm scared, but I'm also having fun. Like I'm enjoying feeling this way. And I think that's, there's some kid stuff horror that just makes you feel like weird and icky. And that's like a kind of interesting feeling. But then there's like, I'm just having a blast and I'm scared. And I think that builds a fun association for future horror fans. I think it's like, it's fun to be scared.
I think before we get away from it too far, does anybody have a favorite episode of like Are You Afraid of the Dark, or do you have one that stands out? Like I remember like the very first one I ever saw, and it's still one of my favorites. So does anybody have one?
Yes. I made a small list, but I
did too.
Oh my god, I did not make.
Me and KB did not.
Three.
We did not.
Yeah, I have several that because I kept like scrolling through like lists and being like, oh yeah, I love that one. It was so scary, and like remembering what it was.
Let me tell you guys though why I did not have a list. I was a wimpy kid.
Oh.
Let me tell you why. I have two reasons. One, when I went into the video store, like the VHS store, like your local VHS store, not even a Blockbuster when I was a kid.
The greatest place on earth, yeah.
No,
right. The guy that worked at my VHS store was a dick. Like he hated children, and he was just a grade A piece of trash. So every time I would go in to this fucking video store with my parents, he would try and trick me into going into the horror movie aisle just to make me cry. And there were several times when I did cry. But the thing about this is I'm 31 years old and I still remember this. I remember being scared to go in to the video store because I was going to see Chucky, or I was going to see scary pictures because this guy was going to try and lead me into this. Like,
what a jerk. Such a jerk.
Number one, fuck that guy. Yeah. Two, I'm glad that I got over it. But as a kid, I was not into it. I was not one of those kids that really watched Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark that heavily. And the second reason why I don't have a list is because the very, very first Goosebumps episode is the most terrifying episode ever created. And I can't watch that show. I can't even go back at 31 years old and rewatch this show because I tried to watch the first episode a couple of years ago and I started crying.
Oh
no!
I have a really bad bug phobia, so if I didn't know, and it's just within the first 5 minutes that some really bad stuff happens, and then I just can't. So I have no list. I remember the Mask episode, and I remember reading that book, and that's all I've got to say about Goosebumps.
Oh man, my great aunt used to mail us a Halloween package every year when we were kids, and it was just like full of just goodies and candy and stuff. And she would always send Goosebumps VHSs. And my brothers and I would be like, yes. And we would just watch the video over and over again. We were like obsessed with the Goosebumps. We loved it so much. I don't really know if I have a favorite Goosebumps episode, but Are You Afraid of the Dark? My favorite is the one where the girl turns into a porcelain doll in like the creepy dollhouse. And the dollhouse, like she gets inside of the dollhouse to try to find her friend, and her friend's already turned into a doll, and then she's trying to find a way for them to get out, and it keeps like closing up on her. And I always find that really creepy. Like I love the book House of Leaves because like there's new doors and windows like popping up all the time, and that sort of thing always freaks me out still now. So I think that's where that kicked off. But I thought the episode was so scary, and I think it's because they were like girls and I had a dollhouse too, and and it just seemed like a little bit too real. I could get trapped in my dollhouse at any point in time.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
I thought that one was really scary.
Yes. I made my top 3 favorites Are You Afraid of the Darks because I still watch these today. Coming in at number 3 is The Tale of the Night Shift. And you guys tell me if you've seen these.
It's the vampire one, right?
Yes.
I love that one.
The girl, Amanda, she works the night shifts. People start acting weird and crazy. Yeah, there's a vampire. That dude is scary as hell.
He is really creepy.
And so that came out in 1996. So I would have been 11. That's pretty creepy for an 11-year-old.
Yeah, that's really scary.
Yeah, love that one. Second favorite one is The Tale of the Twisted Claw. And I think I love that because it takes place on Halloween night. Well, the night before Halloween and then Halloween night, 2 boys harass the old lady. And she gives them a vulture foot.
I remember.
Grants wishes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I remember that now.
And curses. But so good. And my number 1 favorite is probably, it is another vampire one, but The Tale of Midnight Madness with Nosferatu.
Yeah, in the theater, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Dr. Vink with a helps them prevent themselves from closing by showing the silent film, and then Nosferatu comes out of the screen, and yeah, that's pretty messed up. That was in 1993, you guys.
Wow.
I was 8.
God, I feel so old now.
I know. And we have Nick Splat right now, so I've just been like wearing it out with Are You Afraid of the Dark. They've got seasons 1 and 2 on there.
Oh, so lucky.
Mine, I don't know this. Well, I didn't go as deep as you. I don't know when they were released or anything. I know the like my favorite one was in the first season. The second one, I don't even remember the title, but it was basically people have accused M. Night Shyamalan for kind of ripping it off. But it was basically the boy dies and he doesn't know it, and like the girl is like she can still see him at the school
Yes.
and stuff. And then,
Yes. Okay. I remember that.
when you're growing up and you're figuring stuff out either through church or whatever, it's like, I mean, how would I know if I'm dead? I don't know, so like that, just that thought of, just being dead and just not knowing it, and just, I'm going to school every day for nothing because I'm dead and no one knows it or whatever. But the creepiest one for me was the super specs, the X-ray specs.
Oh.
That
yeah.
one is
Yeah.
no joke. I mean, I watched it sometime after we had started this show, so sometime within the last year, and I was still like, man, this is still creepy. So, but I know that one was in the first season, but I don't know when the other one was. And actually, the one that Kayla was just talking about, there was, and this kind of ties into it, but the Friday the 13th TV show, there was an episode similar to that. It was just a dollhouse. It wasn't really a doll, but there was all these missing kids in a neighborhood, and these brother and sister had this dollhouse, and it was like one you would like buy at Lowe's or something. So it was like the small little pre-made thing. But then when they like got into it, it was like it was like a mansion. So it was like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so it was like outside it looked really small, but indoors it was just vast, and basically all your wishes came true. And so like they were in this like, it was like a black and white checkered floor, and they were getting all these toys. I mean, it was just this, just unbelievable. And then the brother and sister hold hands and say, "We hate you," and then the house eats the kid.
Oh God.
It's so dark.
Yeah, and that's and like where my grandmother lived, like right next door, their neighbor, she kind of had this like dollhouse, and it was kind of small, like that, and so like that freaked me out. So yeah, that was kind of a similar story. So, but
Awesome.
But yeah, those were, they were very spooky, and like to be, in your teens or 10 to 12 or 15 or, in that age range. I mean, it was definitely strange to see that pretty much every week on Nickelodeon. Or I guess some of you were a little younger than that. So it's just odd that there's not a steady, supply of that stuff now. I mean, there's, Walking Dead and Bates Motel and stuff like that, but that's more like grown up stuff. I don't know how many kids are watching that stuff. So
Yeah. We were kind of talking about it earlier, and I think, I worked in a school library in Nashville, and like the kids, middle school and younger, even high school kids, but they didn't read as much for fun. But all the little kids would be like, where are the scary books? Like they wanted to read scary books, and that was what they wanted. And I'd be like, there's not a whole lot now. I mean, there are some books that are pretty scary for kids, but not the kind of level that you can consume like Goosebumps, where it's just like there are so many and you can just kind of go through all of them really quickly. And, there might be one here or there, but then you read it and it's like, it's drama mixed in with some scary stuff, or it's a mystery and there's something kind of scary, but not really. And, I'll be like, how about this book? And they said, I already read it. It's not scary enough. And it's like, well, okay. Have you read Goosebumps? They're like,
Yeah.
Yes. Like, dang it. Okay.
Classic stuff.
Right. And, but they want it so much. And I think we were talking about this earlier too, about like, shows for kids that are kind of creepy, or like animated shows that are kind of creepy. I feel like older kids watch those, not so much little guys or middle school or elementary school, like how we watched them when we were about that age. I just feel like they don't have that much stuff anymore. And I feel like that's a little sad in a way, because I feel like they should be exposed to that sort of thing. And it has a lot of imagination, and it's fun and it's interesting. And I just felt like they didn't have enough when I was working in the library. And I searched. I was like, give me all of the scary books. And there just weren't enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's
And
like,
at that age, for a lot of them, like Stephen King's like over their head a little bit. You know?
oh yeah,
Yeah. Although I did see an awesome quote. I don't remember where I read it, but R.L. Stein met Stephen King at some point, and he said, I've heard that I am the literary training bra for you. He said that to Stephen King, and Stephen King was like, I know.
amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, got to get ready for Stephen King. I
I was
love
doing
that.
some research earlier, like I was like PG horror, childhood, whatever. Disney Channel used to do some fun, somewhat scary movies like Halloween Town, but the one that stuck out was Don't Look Under the Bed, which came out in 1999. But the people that were talking, the people that talked about it, the only thing they said about it was there's a reason parents were so pissed off about this film when it premiered.
I haven't watched it so long. Yeah,
I don't even know if Disney still does stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not really sure. I know there's some video games that the kids would play that were like kind of scary, but and I don't know how much, since it's not that much to consume. There's only so many things that you can do within the game.
Yeah.
How much are they really getting?
Or like creepy pasta stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
they probably read all of that stuff too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's great. Yeah. Whatever gets them reading, I was like, I don't care what you read. Just tell me all your creepypastas. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, with me being the token older guy, and I mean, and you guys were around for it, whether or not you watched it or not. But I mean, I think we just kind of grew up at a really good time because, horror really boomed in the 80s and 90s, and
Oh yeah.
there was a time where studios were like, we need an Oscar, bait movie, we need a romantic comedy, and we need a horror movie. I mean, it was like that was the thought process. But especially in the late 80s and early 90s, they had a lot of the syndicated shows, and I know I've talked about them before, but like Freddy's Nightmares, there was a Nightmare on Elm Street show. Friday the 13th, the series, that was a show. Tales from the Dark Side, Monsters. Tales from the Dark Side, the TV show, is actually on Shudder right now. I watched the first episode called Trick or Treat.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was written by one of the big ones, either John Carpenter or Tobe Hooper or I don't think it was Wes Craven, but anyways, one of the big guys. Oh, it was George Romero. George Romero wrote the first episode, and Monsters is on Amazon Prime, and then also Tales from the Crypt, which that was a little bit more adult, but in the mid 90s, I was a little bit older, so I was checking some of that stuff out. But you would have like big name actors on like Tales from the Crypt, like they would go be guests on that show and stuff. Of course, Goosebumps was really big, and it was just, there was just so much that you could access. So it's kind of weird now that you have more access to this stuff, but there's not as much content, it's kind of strange.
Well, the content is different, and it's made by people who are not it's like crowdsourcing it, right? So it's like anybody can write it and put it up on the internet. And is it good? Maybe you might find a couple of good ones, and it's not really like super visual, so you can't really get it. And like the kids were all obsessed with like Slender Man a few years ago, like those kind of creepy pastas, but it's not quite the same as far as booming, as much of a boom as we had when we were kids.
Yeah,
I don't know. It kind of bums me out.
I think it was just that time where, I mean, there's just no way that someone would do a Freddy TV show now with Robert Englund in full makeup for like 2 seasons, because I mean that makeup is not cheap, and I think it was just everything was booming. So like, screw it, let's just do this TV show called Monsters and let's, whatever. So I think it was just the success was kind of rolling downhill. So like, because all these movies were killing it, they're just like, well, let's try this,
I think there's only like, thinking about like kid horror now, there's only Coraline that I thought was actually scary.
Yeah.
I think Coraline is terrifying, actually.
It is freaky. Eyeballs.
Yes, with the weird
eyeballs.
buttons. And I love Neil Gaiman, the writer, anyway, and he's amazing. But I thought that was truly scary, and I think that like the kid stuff that they have now is missing something that's deeply scary in like a kind of fairy tale or weird or kind of off, like we were talking about before, way. They're just missing that. But Coraline was really scary. I don't know if everybody's seen it, but it's terrifying.
Yeah, that one was good. Yeah. I was gonna piggyback off the witches conversation, and I mean the big ones we haven't mentioned, of course, Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, and those obviously aren't horror, but they were freaking really scary. Like Labyrinth starts off with a girl's baby brother getting kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like right off the bat, like, oh shit.
But then she gets picked up by David Bowie. I'd be like, bye, little brother.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
I'm an only child.
Right.
Yeah, I'll just
stay here with you. Yeah.
I was gonna say Little Monsters.
Little Monsters
I love
is on my
that
list.
movie.
Fred's
Oh, that's a good one. That's so
man.
good.
That is
That's like-
one of my favorites.
Oh, so good. And like the original Frankenweenie, black and white from the 80s.
I like I like the original short better than the claymation or whatever.
Same.
Oh yeah. It made such an impact on me. It was so sad, but then so happy.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a quick question for you guys.
Okay.
Do you consider Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
It's a great question.
So tricky.
Christmas.
I watch it
I say
both
Christmas.
times, but it does get me in a Christmassy mood. I don't know. I don't,
Yes.
and maybe it's because I don't need to be put into a Halloween mood. I'm just always in a Halloween mood, but I always have to get into like a Christmas feeling. And
agree with
that one, I feel like Jack Skellington is learning about Christmas. And I think like that movie kind of opens up Christmas for me every year. Yeah.
Okay. I want all opinions before I continue.
I mean, I read an interview, and I think the writer of the movie said it was a Halloween movie. So I'm kind of, it's kind of a coin flip, I've watched it.
That was my reveal.
My bad. Sorry, I didn't know that's where you were going with it.
You stole
I can edit this out if you want to. We can go back.
No, that's fine.
I feel like Christmas.
I'll just take a drink of my water. Thank
Same
you.
with Gremlins. Like I love Gremlins to my core, but I watch it in Christmas time.
Yeah.
'Cause it takes
And that one, I mean, I think that's on the list too. I mean, it's definitely pretty. There's some scary moments in there. I need to go back and watch the second one. I've been seeing, and I think I saw the second one at the theaters. I think my mom took me and my brother. The first one I was too young, but so I've seen it, but I don't know. I've just been seeing online like all these articles and stuff, people like praising it and stuff, and I don't remember it being that good. I do remember Hulk Hogan being in it in like full on Hulk gear. Like it looks like he was walking to the ring and took a left and went into a movie theater. So I mean, it's like he's like the wrestler Hulk Hogan. So that's kind of strange, but yeah, like that. I had the ones I had written down were witches we've already talked about. Once Bitten with Jim Carrey. It's a vampire movie. It's probably more of like a teenager horror movie, I guess, because it's dealing with like virginity and all this kind of stuff. But I watched it as a kid, so but that's it's not really terrifying or anything. It's just kind of spooky. Spaced Invaders is super underrated. We were talking about this before, but it's basically aliens come to Earth on Halloween, and I'll try not to butcher this. They are doing a radio broadcast of War of the Worlds, and they just so happen to come through when that's playing. But I remember, I think I saw that on ABC. I think they showed it on TGIF one Friday around Halloween. Like, that was the whole block was just that movie. Or it might have been on another night. But anyways, I think ABC showed it. So that one always stood out to me. It was, dealing with aliens and all that kind of stuff, but it was kind of spooky. It was more, it wasn't really scary. Ernest Scared Stupid, classic.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that one is so good.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Oh gosh, I rewatched it when we did the horror list last year. I was like, oh my god, this movie is so ridiculous. Like, why is Ernest friends with middle schoolers? Like,
yeah.
Like, what is happening? I don't know. It was very weird.
I don't know why it doesn't get the same kind of love that like Hocus Pocus does. I mean, it's just it's so good.
Out of control.
Yeah. And then the numero uno, of course, is Monster Squad. I mean, combining the Goonies with Universal Monsters is just awesome. And again, not super scary, but there are like Dracula blows up his dad's partner in the car. Like, holy shit, that's wild. And he also blows up the clubhouse, and the transformation scenes with the Wolfman were pretty wild.
Yeah.
And so, and I've told this story already, but I got in trouble with my girlfriend at the time. I was like 4th grade maybe, or 5th. I was like way young, but I basically asked her if she was a virgin because I didn't. I was like,
That's awesome.
hey, we're watching Monster Squad. This is awesome. I got this girlfriend. Hey, are you a virgin? We're going to kill monsters. And she basically just kind of turns to, hey, Mom, am I a virgin?
Or like Hocus Pocus. I didn't know what the Black Virgin candle was.
Yeah.
I just like took it,
Black candle.
and that's a thing that I tried to tell like parents all the time. It's just like, if your kid doesn't know what it is, it just goes right over their head.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't even ask about like, what does that mean? It was just like, okay, yeah. And just right over the head.
Yeah.
It was like way later until I like one day you just freeze in the middle of whatever you're doing and you're like 20 and you're like, wait, how did I miss that?
Did y'all, this is not horror related, but this is a perfect example of that. Did y'all catch in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, when the neighbor kisses the sister and the brother asks where he learned that, and he said French class? And then at the end of the movie, he's like, oh, I get it, French class, like French kissing. It took me like 15 years to get that. Like, I no clue. I was like, I don't get it. Like, I'm not taking French class in high school. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. And then you're right, like way down there, like, oh, French kiss, French class, got it.
Yeah. I know. It's funny.
I don't know. I was going to throw out there when Orgy the band first came out. And I was like, I love this song about Orgy.
Took a weird turn.
Yeah, it did. I remember telling my mom that I was like, I love this song. It's Blue Monday about orgy. And I didn't know what orgy meant. And she was like horrified.
But yeah, we don't know. Like, we're just like, yeah, well, whatever.
I'll never forget that.
We started with David Bowie and some tight pants. And now we're talking about
that
orgy.
Conversation.
I would like to throw out there that one of my best friends, she was like frightened by David Bowie's package in the Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And she's a lesbian now. So
Well,
there you go.
You mean his cod piece?
It's very. It could either make you very straight, like
Yeah,
it did
yeah.
me, or it can make you very not straight.
That's the deciding factor.
Yeah, that's what determines it. How do you
Love
react to this?
Yeah.
I think I
I'm just
mentioned this
kidding,
when
obviously, but still.
I think when we mentioned
Oh,
this
we haven't
before.
even mentioned yet the scariest movie of all time, which is Return to Oz.
Oh,
Oh my
man.
gosh, guys. Ugh.
The funny thing with
I'm
that
so traumatized.
is that it was that's like I think that's Disney. I think Disney put that out and they're like, screw it, what do we care? And I mean, like, it's, I don't know if, everyone just assumed it was going to be like a pretty straightforward sequel. And,
Yeah, I did, and I was traumatized.
yeah, it definitely was not.
Yes, absolutely not. When that lady has all the heads in the place, I don't even remember half of it, but just, I'm going to take your head.
Or something. And
Yes. Oh, it's so scary. And like Dorothy's getting like electroshock therapy.
yes. Oh
It's
my
so
God.
weird. Like,
That ruined
why?
me.
I know. Why would you make this for children? It's very, oh my God. Okay. I'm so glad that you guys understand, because I feel like
Yes.
in these conversations, it doesn't often get brought up, but like, let's be real. It was very traumatizing when you expect to see like Dorothy going back to see her friends.
Yeah.
It's not.
Lighthearted. No.
No, absolutely not. There's no Emerald City anymore. Everyone you love is dead.
Oh, yeah.
This ties into that pretty well. Did anyone see The Watcher in the Woods?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
I don't remember much about it, honestly, but I do remember it was like aliens somehow involved, awesomeness. It was just, yeah. I just remember it being like very scary, but very awesome.
Well, that was also Disney. They remade it last year, and the lead of The Witches, Angelica Houston, is in it.
I love her.
Yeah,
She's so perfect.
I just saw that was remade last year, so that's-
Interesting.
I'll probably have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. If you Google it, there was an article. Somebody might have been Bloody Disgusting, I don't know, but for about 6 to 8 years, Disney just put out these like nightmare fuel films, like,
Yep.
and they just like they
Yes.
didn't care. And like I think the last one was Return to Oz, but Watcher in the Woods. I think they kind of put in the Black Cauldron because it was a cartoon, and that one was kind of what was that one that they did with The Rock? That's Witch Mountain, Escape from Witch Mountain.
Yes, that was a good one.
I can't remember if the first one was in that group or not, but for just nothing like that would fly now with Disney. Like, there's
Oh, no way.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
But so this is kind of tied into. So we kind of mentioned, obviously, Nightmare Before Christmas. That's actually about to celebrate its 25th anniversary, so that was a good pick. And also, Hocus Pocus just celebrated its 25th anniversary. Do you consider Edward Scissorhands horror-ish?
Ish.
I don't know.
I think it has some.
borderline.
It has some elements of it, but I see it as like a kind of fantasy, more like fantasy,
Yeah, me
almost
too.
like romantic.
It always reminded
In a
me
way.
of like a modern Universal monster, you know, like
Like
Yeah.
he's like misunderstood and sweet.
yeah. I mean, it's
yeah.
those, like, if you go watch Dracula, it doesn't have the same impact that it did 100 years ago, and same thing with like
Sure.
Edward Scissorhands. It's
But I will say, like, we're not supposed to be afraid of Edward. Like, right from the beginning, like, we know that he's good. And I feel like that kind of makes it not so much horror, is that he just is unfortunate looking. And it's everybody else around him that's horrible because they treat him so badly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really see it as that so much. It's like fantasy, I guess. I just think it's so sweet. I don't know. Not sure.
yeah, the part where he's doing the ice and she starts dancing, like that whole Danny
my God.
Elfman, that
It's
music
the most
is just
it's the most romantic thing that's ever been in film. Basically. It's like, oh my God, it's like Casablanca for me. I just think it's so perfect.
That's, I mean, those are like the high points for me.
Yeah, I feel like we scratched a surface of it because there's a lot, but yeah, we hit the high points. Good stuff.
And I think even like going back to like with Joe Bob, you know, like when he had his show, I mean, he was showing like R-rated stuff predominantly, but it was all edited for TV. So even that kind of, you know, made it more PG, I guess, you know. So being able to watch stuff like that under his watch, I guess, played a part in it as well. But
yeah.
But I mean, there was, for me, you know, the cliche is always the girls play with dolls and the boys whatever. And so I don't know if you guys were reading comic books when you were younger or not. I personally didn't have any like girlfriends that read comic books when I was little. It's very common now, of course. But so I read, you know, I had the Fright Night comics, and there was actually, this one's not super horror, obviously, but Ghostbusters, definitely in that realm because it is kind of ghost and spooky, and you know, they had the cartoon and the comic books and the very, very bad video game for Nintendo, and but yeah, I think one of y'all said it. I mean, there was a lot of. It covered a lot of the media, basically. I mean, comic books, normal books, magazines, TV, movies. I mean, just there was everywhere you turn, there was something. And it's kind of, I think what Kayla was saying, it definitely packed more of a punch than at least what I've seen here nowadays. You know, nothing really compares to a lot of the PG stuff that we had. So,
yeah, I feel like you could get away with more back then. Maybe parents weren't watching so closely.
Yeah,
it's very possible. But yeah, I
some of that too. You know, like with the FCC, like after the. I mean, this didn't affect us, obviously, but like after the Super Bowl with Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson, they definitely, you know, you saw a shift in things and content, and you know, definitely things got more conservative, and so I think that's a good analogy, like, or analysis, that back then a lot more stuff just kind of they let it fly. So, but yeah, so I think it's one of those. I want to take just a little bit and talk about. I think at some point we'll probably dedicate a whole episode to this, but I think Lena we were gonna mention like the TGIF stuff.
Oh, yes.
Just because the kids don't know about it, man. I mean, TGIF was like, that's what you did, you know?
I know.
My routine
Supposedly
would be either I'd go to a friend's house or they'd come over. We'd go to the video store, probably get 2 movies, maybe 1, get a pizza, get home, watch TGIF until 2020 came on, and then popped in the horror movie, and then went to bed.
Yes.
And
I know, and they're like somewhat bringing it back in October, but I mean, of course, it's not the same.
yeah, but they
Not the same shows.
it's not the same. Yeah.
no. Well, and they've been kind of doing this TGIT thing,
Oh yeah.
you know, but in Shondaland or whatever. But TGIF, like they killed it pretty much every year for Halloween.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my favorite overall was The Boy Meets World, and then there was Sean.
Oh, I love that one.
Oh,
So good.
yes.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I gotta check
Okay.
because I can't remember for sure, but I think that episode wasn't shown at Halloween. I mean, that doesn't have any. It doesn't
no,
have
I
any
think
bearing
you're
on
right.
this conversation, but it's just funny because I could swore that it came out around Halloween.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I can't remember when. But I love that one. I love Who's Afraid of Corey Wolf and Corey.
Yeah.
And then the Family Matters, Urkel, when he has Stevel, the little like ventriloquist doll.
Oh my God. So my brothers, we loved that show and we loved that episode. And they had bunk beds at the time. They were really little. And my youngest brother he'd go, "Little Urkel," and the other brother would like lose it, just terrified. They had to have been like 4 and 5. Like they were really little.
That's awesome.
Like scaring each other. It was awesome.
I love
But that was
those.
really scary.
Yeah. Home Improvement had a ton of really cool
man. They were-
Halloween stuff.
Yeah, they
They're
were.
on top of it.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
You know, you guys, I do miss
Roseanne
those
had the
days.
scariest one.
Oh gosh.
Oh, yes.
Did you say Roseanne?
Roseanne was terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Roseanne.
Roseanne
Yeah.
was terrifying.
And Fright Rags did a release last year of that. They had like 3 different episodes or scenes from the episodes. Yeah, Roseanne and Home Improvements were very good. And then
That's a point.
I think there was a Full House one that was pretty good on TGIF, and was it Step by Step maybe? I think
That was on TGIF.
TGIF, yeah. I think,
Yeah.
and I can't remember the specifics, but I just remember there was one year where like every single show did one, and it was all like really good. And
Yeah.
but yeah, Roseanne, I went back last year before she came out as racist and watched all the Halloween ones, and Darlene's costumes were awesome. She always like just killed it. Yeah, and you kind of see stuff like that now, like they'll like on Modern Family, they're like setting up for like a Halloween party, but it's not really the same thing, it's kind of the background. It's not like the main part of the episode or whatever. So,
I'll tell you what I miss most about that, and I feel like Joe Bob kind of brought it back this year, was you had to be in front of your TV at a certain time,
Yes. I feel like that was really nice.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's fun. That gives you something to look forward to, and kind of like a challenge these days.
that was complicated because I was out of town. That was the number one thing. But then I had, I think I originally signed up for Shudder through Amazon. So that way it just comes out of, I guess, your Amazon account or whatever. And then like when you go to Amazon, it lists your channels, and then you just watch the channel through Amazon. But they didn't support the live like Shudder TV. So I had to cancel that and then subscribe through Shudder. So then when I was out of town, I watched or attempted to watch it. But then when I got back into town, my Amazon Fire Stick doesn't support Shudder. So I had to cancel it through Shudder and get it back on Amazon Prime. It's a lot of like jumping through hoops, but we still love Shudder. They're awesome. So So yeah, well, I think this was a pretty good episode. I think we could probably. My vision is like at some point just do like a TV horror, and I think we could like focus on like the TGIF episodes that were the best, and like some of those like Freddy's Nightmares and Friday the 13th and stuff like that. I think maybe there's enough there for another episode. So maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. So yeah, I probably should ask this before we were recording. Does anybody have any shout outs this week?
Nah.
I was gonna say,
Not for me anyway.
Not that I could think of.
I love all y'all. but I can't think about who I want to shout out right now.
Yeah.
So, little brain fart.
have I ever gave Predetermined a shout out? I don't remember if I've ever done that before.
I don't think so. I mean, I was on one of their episodes not too long ago, so we can
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, shout out to my boy Garrett. I know he actually listens. And go listen to Predetermined. It is a wrestling podcast. I would actually like to have Garrett on here sometime soon because we just went to go see that movie Slice, which was
Oh yeah. Cool.
very underwhelming. But he's kind of become my movie buddy because me and Aaron and him and his wife all live very close. So we've been going to movies together. So I'll probably have him. Maybe we can get him to come guest spot on here.
Yeah, we talked about the wrestling, themed episode, but now like we know a lot more people that have wrestling podcasts. So like, I don't know how we're gonna pick because,
We'll figure it out.
yeah. But yeah, if you go check them out, their live episode from All In, which if you don't know what that is, it was a big independent wrestling show. They pulled me up on to the stage like the last 4 minutes of the show, so I'm pretty big deal. So.
Brag.
But I will say this. I got to hang out with them pretty much the whole weekend, and Queen of the Ring, Alex, of course. And he did say that I have a soothing voice, which was
That's very nice.
it is very nice. I was not
Very good
expecting
compliment.
And that's coming from somebody. Garrett has arguably the best radio voice ever.
Yeah, he has a very good radio voice. But he said he'll start our episode and go to with his
So
headphones and
funny.
stuff. And so when I'm rambling, it says it's soothing. He says he always comes back and finishes. He doesn't, but anyways, it was nice of him to say that.
So sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say this episode kind of snuck up on me. I'm sure y'all probably think the same, but I've been so swamped with the Monsters Ball thing and getting sponsors and the thing I mentioned earlier about the website, and so I've talked to people. We're getting to the point where people are, wanting shout outs and talking about advertising for, paying us to post stuff on Instagram and stuff. So, I mean, we're starting to get kind of we're getting a lot of stuff thrown at us. So I apologize because I know somebody has mentioned, us giving them a shout out, and I've been swamped. So next episode, we'll make sure we have a nice, clean list of people that we want to shout out, and we won't neglect that. We like doing that. So, I think that's it. I mean, I didn't mess up the names at the beginning, and
It was already successful right from the start of that.
To beat a
You're
man,
good.
you gotta beat the man.
yeah. we had a healthy mention of wrestling throughout.
And we checked all our boxes.
So the next episode will probably be in October, which means we will be in the thick of it, and hopefully by the end of next week, the last full week of September, we're going to release our movie list for Halloween. I think I'm the only one that hasn't finished it, honestly. The girls are way ahead of that. So
Get it together.
I know.
Jeez.
I'm a slacker.
And don't forget our Saw event,
Thank
Full
you.
Moon,
Yeah. Why don't you plug that?
on the 29th at 7 p.m.
Nice.
Is that right?
That is right. And
Y'all come hang. There's going to be some trivia before.
yes, if you like Lena's Fun Facts, you should come out because we will have an interactive Lena's Fun Facts.
Ooh, okay.
And I think the winner, we're going to, I don't know, you'll get a poster or a shirt or something. We'll get
High five.
high fives.
Best bumps.
But
Wait, I
yeah,
probably shouldn't
get there a little
post that.
early. We're gonna just try that just to see what happens. The last show we did was Big Trouble Little China. It was sold out, so hopefully we have a big show this time. I did find out though. I think there's a big concert that night, so that may be a hindrance. Which in Nashville there's always a big concert. So, and then we got to look at what movies we're going to do for October. Depending on where it lands, it may just be me and Lena. KB's kind of all over the place in October. And of course, we mentioned last episode, Kayla moved to New York. So, yeah.
I am doing lots of things in October.
Yes.
Yeah, October's
But
like
Halloween
the
Horror
funnest
Nights is
month.
considered work, so
That is true.
Yes.
That is true.
That's true.
She's going to have an in-depth report for us when she returns with that, because she's the only one going, which is, that makes me super. I really thought I was going to go back this year because it's been 5 years since I went, and it just didn't happen. So that's the way it goes. But you'll go, and you'll have a report for us.
I'm nervous, fam. I'm very nervous.
Man. Now, remind me again, I know you don't like haunted houses, but I mean, you've gone in them, right? Or have you never gone in
Nope.
one? You never gone in one
Not
before?
since I was in high school. I've refused. So I have not been to inside of a haunted house since probably the year of 2005 or 2006.
I mean, some of the stuff in Horror Nights isn't that bad, really. But, yeah.
Yeah, I watched some YouTube vids before I went just to get an idea of what to expect.
It's scary.
That might help.
But it's Stranger Things, so how bad can it be?
Yeah.
And I got the best shirt ever for it. So
That's true.
that Steve Harrington is the babysitter, and it looks like a horror movie poster.
Amazing.
Best
amazing.
shirt ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's an incredible
Yeah.
tee. So we got stuff happening, and I think Kayla is going to do our socials real quick.
Yeah, we are everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, mostly Instagram though, at Music City Horror. We also have our own personal ones, which are listed on there too. So if you want to follow us, that's always really fun too. And hit us up sometime. We love talking about horror, especially after this comes out. Like, we'd love to talk about movies that you liked when you were a kid, or movies that are kid movies that you have enjoyed recently that maybe we missed. Like, let us know. We love talking to you guys on Instagram, especially.
That is true. I put up on our Instagram page, if you click under our names, we have links to takes you right to the iTunes page and various stuff. But we're now on a site called Radio Public, and it just, from the feedback I'm hearing, it's one of the better Android podcast players. So if you don't have a default player on Android, that's a good one to check out. We're still on Stitcher and Indie Popcorn and all the other ones. The only one we're still not on is Spotify. So we'll crack that code at some point. I don't know. It's a long process, it seems. So yeah, but that's all for this episode, and I guess we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Holla.
Bye.
Adios.